Welcome to EFTM, and today, something very special. The Cupra Born, the all-electric car from Spain. This car's a little bit more special to me than most because my first car was a Seat Ibiza, and that is the parent company of Cupra. Cupra's a spin-off kind of sports, performance and electric brand from Seat over in Spain. Now the Cupra brand has relaunched here in Australia for the first time. Cupra's only 5 years old, but Australia's one of their first international markets, and it's essentially a test bed for whether or not they can make it in places like Japan or America and other places, because if it works here, it'll work anywhere. And this is the fourth model they've got, but it's their first fully electric car, and it'll be the first of many. I've seen at least 3 other models coming to Australia in the next few years. But this is hot hatch stuff. This is built on the Volkswagen electric hatch performance brand, and basically you've got the ID3 built in that same platform, but this takes performance up a level, slightly lower ride, and just that little bit tweaked performance. So what I need to know is what it's like to drive. So Cupra's brought us down to Canberra to drive this car, and there's a very clear reason for that. In Canberra, 1 in 5 cars ordered are electric. Now, whether that's incentives or the amount of charges or just the general feeling about it, that's a good sign. And we're going to get to that point in other states very soon. 5% of cars are electric that we buy now. It's going to grow. But this is the kind of car that's not going to skyrocket sales, because if they've sold 500 already, they might sell 600 or 700 in a year. Maybe they could get to 1,000, I don't know. But the point is, they want this to be the best-selling European-made electric car, because BYDs are in China, your Tesla made in China. So this will potentially be a real good winner for them in that sense. So first impressions, I got to tell you, it's a nice little cockpit. It's a real driver's feeling. The infotainment screen, nice big 12-inch thing, is just gently pointed towards me, and I feel comforted by that. I feel like it's built for me. This nice little, 5-inch screen here in front of me. The dashboard is just the information I need to know. Speed, range, the driver assistance, that's all in there. But the cool thing about that is it actually moves with the column. So as you move the driver's column, the whole dashboard moves as well. And that's something that I think a lot of cars should be doing now, because we don't need these big instrument clusters here. But I did struggle to get it going first, because the gear shift is up here on that instrument cluster. There's a dial here that you twist forward for drive modes and back for reverse. It took me a minute to find it. Now I find it, we're all good. Now as I sit here in traffic looking at the infotainment system, I have to say it's not wireless, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and I didn't bring a cable that is USB-C. So all USB-C in here. There's a wireless charger here as well for my phone. Let's put it there and make sure it goes ding. Yep, there it goes. It's charging, and that's all good. Charging mobile device appears on the screen. The infotainment, honestly, on the Cupras is not brilliant. They've put a lot of effort into the sectionality of it, the climate controls at the top. It's not horrible, but in the end, I'm always going to use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and I don't mind a wired version. I just would prefer in this day and age that it was wireless. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it is a bit frustrating that a brand new car doesn't have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now there is actually a stop button on the side of the column, but you don't need it, because the Cupra has a bit of intelligence built in, where essentially it knows I'm sitting here. It can feel my weight, definitely. It knows I've got the key in the pocket. So basically when you get out of the car, it turns off. Now that is a big adjustment for a lot of people. The whole, I can't hear the car running, is it on, is it off? It doesn't really matter. Bottom line, when you leave the car, it's locked and it's not running. When you get in the car, you simply just twist and go straight to drive. Now there's a couple of modes here, drive and then B, which is like a better battery performance. So you're going to get higher regen. I can instantly feel it. It's not going to be quite one pedal driving, but gee whiz, it is bringing it down to a stop as I look around me and make sure no one else is around. This is bringing it to a full stop in B mode, whereas in drive mode, if I bring that up and then slow down again, it's definitely not doing that. So good regeneration in B mode, and I can see the change ever so slightly in the range as a result. There's also different drive modes. There's an individual mode, there's the standard mode, and then there's the Cupra button, which gives you the best performance possible from the car that you've chosen. Now, I mentioned that because there is a performance pack option. Now, you'll degrade your range there, but you'll get a better punch. Honestly, I'm just going with the standard because it's electric. Look, it does that. Like every electric car does that. No, it's not as fast as a Tesla. No, it doesn't have ludicrous mode, but no one gives a rat's because you're going to get caught by the cops if you're doing that. But it's nice. It's punchy performance. It's easy to drive. There's a real nice responsiveness to it. So I've got nothing to complain about with the acceleration. Interior-wise, it's gorgeous. It's a really unique design. Again, it's shadowed around the driver, and there's these nice details. There's basically a Cupra touch everywhere in this car. Now, one of the things Cupra's done with their entire design mentality here is that copper look of the logo. And it's everywhere, even in this style seats, and there's a couple of seat variants. One of them is a wonderful eco-friendly option that they've actually using ocean-sourced plastic. So they pay, this company in Spain pays fishermen to obtain plastics and rubbish from the ocean and then turns it into fabric. And that's what we end up with in these cars. This one though has this kind of 3D look to it, so I can actually see like a copper finish in the seats, which I absolutely love. And then there's copper accents around it as well, and of course in the logo, the front and around the grille, which I think it just looks great. It's got this really bold and aggressive look to it, which I think is great because it should look sporty, it should look unique, and that's exactly what Cupra want. They want you to be driving something unique. Honestly, and I know I bang on about it, but it feels like when I first got my Seat Ibiza, it felt unique because no one else had them. They weren't a popular car. Yeah, they sold a few, but it was unique. And I think a lot of people, when you're spending this kind of money, you don't want the same thing. And I've got to be honest with you, there's Teslas bloody everywhere. There's nothing unique about owning a Tesla now. So if you're looking for an EV that's unique, hello, Cupra. It's punchy. Like when you need that punch, it's there. I mean, I just don't know why people need anything more than this. This is lovely. Absolutely lovely. I'm going to do something that only really Canberra can offer well, and that's roundabouts. There's no one around here. Imagine I'm lost. But just the feel of this, there's a little bit of kind of weird movement on the outside tyre, but felt good on the turn, really planted in every kind of circumstance when I've just weirdly thrown it through a residential street because I haven't really done much driving other than around these residential streets, which I think is what most people will be doing. It's a really gorgeous planted feel, really nice through the turns. Put it this way, if this was a test drive, I'd be going back to a dealer and saying, let's talk finance. So yeah, I think they're on a winner. It's got a really nice internal sound profile. It's subtle, but so it's not overpowering. You're not hearing it all the time, but when you're quiet, and I'm not playing any music or anything, it's very clearly there. It's very, it's got that Jetsons feel about it. So there's that nice feeling of acceleration, which you want from a sports car. And I'm going to tell you something that one of the designers of this car mentioned at the launch. And it's normally not something I would talk about, but I thought it was actually brilliantly put. This car has a gender neutral design, not because that's the in thing, but because that's the way of ensuring that a vehicle like this appeals to everyone. And that's the point. It's not a sports car that appeals to blokey men who love a fast car. It's a sports car that appeals to everyone. It's gender neutral. And I like that. I think that's very smart. That's a very smart way of approaching the design of a car so that you're maximizing your audience. This is probably going to be young skew, but I think they're probably underestimating the 40 plus desirable hot hatch owner. So think about the 40 plus man who had a hatch and wanted a hot hatch, but then got a family. And now those families are getting older, and this is their second car. This is a futuristic hot hatch, and I think that is what's going to sell it. Beautiful design. Love the look of this thing on the outside. It's small. It is a small car. Decent boot space though, it's not horrible, but don't kid yourself. This is not an SUV, this is a hot hatch. So small, and value for money per centimetre, per inch, per kilogram, per everything is difficult. But if you're thinking EV, you're already putting all of that out of your mind anyway. Performance is a win. Drivability, it's gorgeous. Interior design, next level. This is absolutely premium. It absolutely blows away anything else, certainly in that $45,000 to $65,000 mark. Just blows it away. This is beautiful. And drive, ride, handling, love it. The main thing this car's got going for it, I think, is looks and price. Now, it's a $60,000 car. You'll pay more for the different variants, the added options, the performance, different things like that. But broadly, it's a $60,000 car. Take away the incentives in most states and you'll probably end up paying around 60 grand after on roads, which is pretty impressive, though still very expensive. And this is where I struggle. I really want this car. I really want to buy this car. But it's tiny. It's a hot hatch. 30, 40 grand maybe for a hot hatch, but $60,000. My mind's problem is I've got a Kia Carnival. It's a big 8-seater, cost me 60 grand, and it's huge. So per centimetre, per litre, per everything. It's a very weird financial decision, but if you want to go EV and you're a hot hatch lover, this seems like the perfect car. And I'll tell you one last thing and one reason why. Cupra have talked about this as being a brand they want to target to people who don't want to be in the mass market. They don't want to be striving for a premium European brand. I assume they're talking about Mercedes and BMW there. And that's exactly me. I don't really want to have the same car as everyone else. I don't want to be in the mass market. I've always wanted something unique. This is purely unique. They're not going to have thousands of them, frankly, because of supply. They've already sold 500. You probably have to wait about 5 months to get one. But I'm going to be struggling to talk myself out of it.